using Blueberry Muffin as my base color. This is a nice dark color. It reminds me of midnight, so the background for space on which the white astronaut will stand out really well. And because this is a bead to courage bead, I can't have any silver on the surface of it. Sometimes I might use a black or a very dark purple or blue, wrap it in silver foil, melt it in really good, and that will give us a nice look of a starry background. But because I don't want any silver on the surface, I'm just going to use a thin white stringer to give the illusion of stars. Alright, so the monotony of winding on a bead. We're going to make a lentil shape. Make about a football or lemon shape here. Smash it flat. And that will give us a nice background to put our astronaut on. Now the challenge that I'm making this bead for is this September Lamp Workers Challenge for space-themed beads to honor the recent launch and pictures that have come back of the James Webb Space Telescope. So of course, astronauts are not going on the James Webb Space Telescope, but I have actually flown on a space telescope. NASA SOFIA, the Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy, is the world's only floating telescope. It's actually due to be retired, but it is a repurposed 747 SP jet, which has been retrofitted to fly higher than normal passenger planes, and it has a 100-inch telescope on it that is on the side. When the big garage door opens, the telescope is exposed and focuses on specific targets, and the scientists and engineers coordinate a flight path to research different targets that researchers have submitted proposals for. So they create an itinerary to fly all night and to gather data about such targets, such as an asteroid, a star-forming region. It could be another planet, a supernova, depending on what it was. I had the opportunity to fly on this craft in 2015. I flew 2 missions with a science teacher grant that I got. And it was the experience of a lifetime. We took off from Palmdale, California, the NASA Armstrong Flight Research Center. And on one of the missions, we had a special guest. It was Nichelle Nichols of Star Trek fame. She recently passed away. So she wasn't an astronaut, but she was a pioneer encouraging women and minorities to pursue careers in space. So I honor her. Okay, so now we're going to press this flat into kind of a lentil shape. Doesn't have to be exact. So I've got a better shape there to put an astronaut on the flat surface. And we are going to be adding a little to this little glass. So if it's a little wonky right now, we'll put some more glass in some other spaces. Okay, so I've got my base shape, Blueberry Muffin. And the first thing I'm going to do is start adding my astronaut. This is a commercial white stringer. And I'm going to think about where do I want to put this astronaut, because there will be some stars in the background. Of course I have to put Earth, because if this astronaut is in space, he or she will be looking at Earth. Okay, so I think I'm going to put the astronaut kind of at an angle. So the first thing I'm going to do is put kind of a long dot for the body. So this will be the start of the body of the astronaut. I'm going to use my knife to smush that in a little bit. Okay, so I've got like an oval shape on there. And that will be the torso of the astronaut. I'm going to have to pull some smaller stringers for the arms and legs of this. So I'm going to just make a small little base bead here and pull my stringers off of that. So, white is really soupy. So I have to remember to be patient, go slow, unless I want a little red. So that's good. I've got a thinner stringer to put on some arms and legs. I'm going to make them go out kind of at an angle. Move to the cooler part of the plane. There's one leg. Don't worry, this will get more looking like a human form. It's a little animal-like right now. And here's the other leg. Bending at the knee. This astronaut might kind of wrap a little bit around the bead, but that's fine. This is beads of courage for me. The children that might receive this bead will be very excited about that. And then one leg looks a little thinner than the other, so I'm just going to try to even that out. Pressing in with my knife. And I'll come back later and add little loops on the bottom of it. Alright, now we're going to do the arms. And it looks like I need to pull some more thin stringer. Commercial stringer is just too wide. It would be too wide of an arm. We certainly don't want arms as wide as our torso, do we? Okay, so I'll find a place for the next arm. One of the good things about white being soupy is you can move it around. And I have my tweezers here if I need to pull them off. Well, it looks like I might need to. But we'll just see how this goes for now. Arm. The next arm. Use a knife to sharpen up my limbs and maybe put a crease in the elbow. Yeah, that looks kind of like an arm. It's kind of a long arm, but that's okay. Adjust that later. And now for the helmet and the head, I'm going to put a dot of white. Then we're going to add, it has to be pretty big. So this is the helmet, not the head. So it looks disproportionately big. But we are going to be adding a dot on top that represents the face. And I have some topaz handy for the face. So I'm pressing that dot in. And that looks really big, doesn't it? It's a disproportionate head. And now I'm going to add the topaz right on top of that, and that'll give the illusion of a face behind the helmet. And now, okay, so there's a smaller dot of topaz. And I'll use my knife to press that in. Looks like something funny was on the end of that topaz, so I'm going to pull that off. Try that again. That's what you get when your bench is messy. Sometimes you don't know what's on the end of your clouds of glass. Alright, so let's try that again. Warm up my topaz, warm up the helmet. Just put a dot right in the middle, smaller than, not all the way to the edges. And it's okay to leave that a little bit raised. Gives, you know, a nice rounded look. Okay, so we've got the astronaut floating in space, the arms, the legs, the white suit. But a United States astronaut would have some red and blue on their uniform. So I'm going to put a little blue dot to represent the NASA badge kind of on the chest, as they might have. There's a show my husband and I are watching right now, and it's called For All Mankind. It's a series based on the space race set in the 60s and 70s. It's pretty interesting. So that gives me a little inspiration too. Okay, I've got my blue dot on there, and now I want to add some red and some feet. I think I'll add some red. Maybe that would give some color. I'm thinking about red, white, and blue for a space, the United States space astronaut. Who's going to have red boots? She, he, we don't know. One or the other. Use my knife to tap those in. Use of courage. We don't want any loose parts or sharp edges. Okay, so now I've got red boots, a blue badge, and you can't really see the red because it is the same color when it's hot as the base bead. You have to warm up the back, don't forget about that. I think I'll make some planets and things now. I'm going to go to my blue and green twisty to make a planet Earth in the background. And of course, if we make planet Earth, we're going to have to also make a moon. So I'm just going to heat up the twisty, not worrying about where the blue and green is, and just mash a dot somewhere in the blank space. So I've got a blue and green and white dot. It's got a little bit of white in that twisty. Okay, so push that in. That looks pretty good. It's got blue, it's got green. I think it might be obvious that that's planet Earth. If I want to put a little more green on there later, or blue, I can do that. I'm going to take my white, and I'm going to put a little moon near it. Doesn't matter where. But the moon's a lot smaller than Earth, about 1/6 the size. So we'll make sure we are somewhat proportionate. Of course, it doesn't have to be exact. I think I want a little more green on my planet Earth. So I'm just going to pick up green stringer and maybe put a dot in there. Maybe that's the Pacific Ocean there with all that big blue area. That's the world's largest ocean. Of course. So some other planets I might want to put on here. I'll get Mars. I'll put the red planet. And maybe a yellowish one. If I feel like my planet's getting too big, I'll just use my tweezers and pull some off. Yeah, that's pretty good. I got an Earth, I have a moon. Alright, so let's go to the other side. And I'm going to use a dark red stringer. And I'm going to put in Mars. A small dot there. Press that in. And for Jupiter, I have a twisty that it's pretty short, but it's got some browns, beiges. I use my greedy grabbers here because this is pretty short. I'm going to heat up this brownish, ivoryish twisty and add Jupiter. Jupiter comes after Mars. The asteroid belt in between. Okay, so now I've got a couple of planets back there. How about some stars? I'll pull out a thinner stringer of white. These I want to be really small, so I'm going to pull this stringer fast and just put some random white dots. And again, my preference is to have the silver leaf melted in, but this is the beads of courage. So we'll keep it safe for the kids. And I can add some stars on the front. Sides. Alright, so far, I have an astronaut on 3 planets. We have Earth, Jupiter. You know, you can identify those as such, but here's our bead so far. I think I want more on the astronaut's uniform. So I'm going to come back to this guy, and I'm going to add maybe some red accents. My stringer's pretty short, so again I'm going to use my greedy grabber. Pull my commercial stringer a little shorter. A little skinnier. And then maybe put some patches on the arms. And let's see, I think we might want to have some buttons down the front because there has to be a way to get in and out of the suit, right? Get real thin here with this black stringer or dark stringer. I really don't know what color it is. It's like black. I'm going to get the suit hot and then just set the stringer somewhere in the middle. Buttons on there. Buttons started going up a little bit. This is a lot of detail work. It takes a while to get to be heat controlled. Comes on some days and goes on others. And I'm going to add just a dot of red near the badge, near the NASA badge. It looks good. And maybe something on the ends of the arms, like a little blue glove. There, keeping in the red, white, blue theme. Pulling off excess where it looks too big. We do not want the glove to be as big as the foot. Alright, so that looks like space gloves. There's our astronaut so far. We've got a planet that is red. We have a planet that is brown and yellow family. We've got our Earth. Earth might need a little bit of white on there for the snow-capped poles. I like that this bead is going to go to both Beads of Courage and be in the chapter showcase. Accomplishing two things with this one bead. Let's make him a little too short. So, I think for good measure, I'm going to add yet one more planet. I'll add a yellowish planet. That can be Venus. Make Venus be somewhere over here. Venus is yellowish because it has a sulfuric gas atmosphere. Earth's twin, but very toxic. Twisties are a great way to simulate planets. Alright, so we've got my astronaut with the helmet, we've got the boots, the suit, the buttons, the planets on the back. I have to decide decide now if there's anything else I want. Maybe I'll give Jupiter a spot, like a storm. I'll do a swirl in it. Because Jupiter has that big stormy, swirly spot. I run the risk of messing up my planet, but I'm going to give it a try. Okay. So I've done what I could with Jupiter. Just smash that in again, try to round it up. Saturn would be a cool planet to make, but ooh, those rings would be hard. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but Mars is looking good. Let's add a little bit more to Mars. Make it really pop. There we have our astronaut. We'll put her into the kiln and see how she comes out. And that is our space themed bead for today, September 22. Thank you for watching.